I wanted to take this opportunity to explain to you how and why a 5-point rubric is being implemented on assignments within this course. So we'll use this rubric as an example for that explanation. So let's start with my why. The reason that I'm implementing this 5-point scale is because I want you to stop focusing so much on the grade or even what benefits you're getting from the learning right at this moment. So, for example, application in your current position or application at this exact moment. And instead, I'm wanting you to focus more on growing your knowledge and your skills and application in the future, which is again that promoting a future forward or growth mindset. So one way that the 5-point scale helps to remove that focus on the grade is removing the need for you or for myself to hyper focus on the differentiation between maybe a 98% and 100%, or a 65% and a 67%. So this type of rubric removes that scale and focuses more on what range do you fall in. Do you fall in indicator met? Indicator met would show that you had a thorough understanding of this concept or the objectives. And so that would be in an A range. Indicator partially met means that you have an adequate understanding of the objectives or the concept, that you do have room for growth, but that you are on target to meet your objectives. And that is again in the B range. And then indicator not met means that you still have a significant room for growth, and that would be in the C or below range. By combining this honest feedback of where you are currently on the continuum of indicator met to indicator not met, with the opportunity to revise your work based on constructive feedback, you're offered the opportunity to grow instead of, again, focusing on the short term. You're able to look at the long term and to find value in thinking long term. I mentioned that when a 5-point scale rubric is employed on a major assignment, you're provided the opportunity to revise your submission. And I want to explain to you how that works. So in this particular example, if you scored below a 4.5, you would have the opportunity to revise your submission based on the constructive feedback that you had been provided, and then to resubmit that for regrading. So essentially what that means is if you made below an A, you would have the opportunity to take your constructive feedback, modify your assignment, and then resubmit it by the deadline to be regraded. Again, I'm doing this because this way you can address the things that need attention now rather than have them hurt you in the future. And again, this promotes that future forward or growth mindset. I realize that some of you may be concerned that an assignment is only worth 5 points, that you feel like maybe you've done a lot of work for only 5 points. And I want to bring that into perspective. And so I'm using this example of how your grades might be distributed. So in this example, you'll notice that there are several assignments, and they each have a percent weight. So for this particular rubric, it was the virtual book study, and it was worth 10% of the overall grade. So those 5 points are actually worth 10% of your grade in the course. So in reality, it's worth much more than 5 points. It's a larger percentage of your grade. So while I'm trying to take the focus off of the grade, I know that again some of you feel like that some of these things are worth or they're not worth enough points for as much work as you are required to put into them. And so I want to point that out, is that in reality, all of these assignments are worth much more than 5 points based on the percentage of the assignment to your overall grade. Okay, so I know that some of that may be a bit confusing, especially since it is very different, likely, than what you've experienced in the past. So if you have questions about the rubrics, a 5-point scale, revisions, how that fits into your overall final grade, any of that, please do not hesitate to ask.